Welcome to the engine disassembly. We have Darin, aka Dory, from Dory Built.
Hello.
He's actually been building our engines for like 4 or 5 years, give or take.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. The first engine he ever built was our Pro-Am engine that lasted like 4 years, including in Alec Robbins' car, which grenaded at Irwindale.
Yeah, she took a lot of abuse.
On 23 pounds of boost.
Yeah, and it started life as a naturally aspirated engine.
It was built as an NA engine. So what are we gonna do today?
We're gonna tear this thing down, and we're gonna see what it looks like after this season. Check it out. It ran pretty good. Didn't really seem like it gave you any issues, so I'm not thinking that we're gonna run into any big problems. Check it out, give it a clean bill of health. Game plan is at minimum, it's gonna get fresh rings, bearings, fully cleaned up. Yeah, we're just gonna measure everything, see how it looks, and go from there.
Let's go through our tool list for the day. So what we have here, we have all of the tools we potentially will need to tear apart this engine. We probably will need more. I just set whatever I thought we needed out. Got wrenches, we've got Allen wrenches, we've got an impact, a dead blow hammer that I cannot hold. Dead blow, not normal because it is a valuable engine and we don't want to do a normal hammer and break crap. Last but not least, energy drink. Your engine builder is guaranteed to be sleep deprived.
I have a caffeine problem.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All engine builders need energy drinks to survive.
I am taking off water crossover ports.
Plastic baggies.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll get these off, and then we'll get the valve covers off, and we'll start working our way down the cylinder head.
See, rubber mallet, not normal mallet. Yeah,
What?
one of the theories is that like the inertia of it just like tosses it out, even though these are vented.
We'll get those. I was thinking that thing was siliconed on for how tight it was on there. This part of the gasket didn't play along when it went in there, so just something to keep in mind when we go back together. When the valve covers got put on, for some reason it like got out of whack, but hey, stayed sealed.
Right.
So.
I'm gonna go look for our special tool that we made for these heads.
Yes, we will need those. Yeah, this one will need a little persuasion as well. I've never seen a valve cover get super stuck like that. Right there, same deal. This time it kicked upwards towards.
What's kind of cool is you can still see the grease from the ARP lube.
Well, I'll pull the valley cover off now because that's going to be the next thing. It's a GM. It's 10s, 13s, 15s are the most common. We have the technology.
How is this breaking loose for you?
I mean, this thing should go
Fine.
loose.
Do it up.
They're only torqued to 18 foot-pounds.
I don't know, that one's kind of a small unit.
Oh my god.
Oh!
No. It was hiding a lot of stuff though. Good lord.
So once we get to this stage, what are we looking for?
I mean, at first glance, you'd look to see if there's anything like weird going on with like rocker arms or anything like that. I don't see any issues there. It all looks to be good at first glance. Once we get the rocker arms off, we'll be able to take a look at the push rods and the tops of the valves to see if there's any uneven wear. That's the next step, is take all these rockers off and see what we got underneath there. And then after that, we can actually get the cylinder head pulled off.
Easy enough. Now you always want to make sure they come off and get put on the same path, right?
That's the goal, is we're going to try and keep them in order. But I mean, more than likely, we're going to put brand new push rods in it. So We're not really too worried about that part. We can always save these for a rainy day. Valves, when we go through the cylinder heads, we'll get a little touch up on the tips make sure that they're cleaned regardless. So
with the rockers, does it really matter if the rocker gets misplaced when you put it
in this scenario, since everything will kind of be replaced, not that much. Typically you want to try and keep them in order anyways, just to make sure. I mean, overall, I'm not seeing anything super obvious with any of these. Standard wear. We'll get all the ones that aren't holding valves open, we'll get those off first, and then since these aren't on a rail of any kind, we'll just spin it over and take the other ones off.
Might have to go in with the deburr. I don't know what happened here.
Sounds like a Dory problem.
What's that little guy in there? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just like a casting machining flaw.
I agree.
Yeah, something got left there.
Comes off.
Yeah, it doesn't fall off and drop into the engine. That'd be ideal. To not blow everything apart. These all seem to be in good shape. I don't see anything obvious. No crazy marking on the top of any of the valves.
Yeah, it's just that weird little casting thing.
I feel the height, and this one's sunk.
I see that, yeah.
I don't know if it's
It actually even looks like it's starting to
like
pull.
Yeah,
Yep.
look at it on the keeper. Like,
Yeah, it's like way different on the keeper than the rest of them. So we might probably want to put, at minimum, new retainers and keepers on this setup. But, I mean, hey, if that's, or even just a complete spring set. So we'll see what next on the agenda is. We're ready for cylinder heads.
Alright,
So-
on that one, Dakota, I do need to borrow a 12 point.
size?
3/8 and 5/8. That's my guess.
Oh man, here's the real fun part. Trying to remember righty-tighty, lefty-loosey when it's upside down.
Yeah, that was really fun to try to like torque properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's like a torque calculation when you add like a super long extension with the tool we have, because the tool is like a wrench add-on.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It really wants to look at Dory.
That scared me. It's like a horror movie, man.
So literally the worst part about this entire engine, like it's been a phenomenal engine. The worst part about it is the orange paint. It's so bad.
We're going to try and get rid of it.
Dakota likes the orange.
Hayden's gonna hate.
Well, you know, when you got to ride the short bus, you just live with it.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't know what that's like. What is that like?
Magnet, please. Good God.
I thought we were here to roast Darin.
No, you don't roast your engine builder. You roast
No,
the people
well, he's-
around the engine.
Yeah, do that. Leave me out of it. I feel what could be.
So the crappy thing about these 6-bolt heads, it's 6-bolt, right? That's what they call it?
Yeah, they're 6-bolt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 6-bolt heads, it's super thick because they have an extra bolt to suction, to bolt the head together so the head gasket doesn't. Science. The crappy part about that is the nut for the head stud is underneath and you need a specialty tool. We did not have said specialty tool, so we made specialty tool.
Hey man, it works.
It worked really well.
It is. It's a wrench that has been added to a. What's the correct term for these things?
Gosh, I don't even remember.
Are they torque multipliers? Basically, it's just added. Welded onto that. Our master welder, Matthew.
When we built this engine, I spent an hour and a half running around town to try to find stuff that I could chop and make work. But it worked. We put the engine together, and we haven't had a head gasket failure. Maybe next time we use a ratcheting one. God, it would suck to do a head gasket repair trackside quickly.
I can definitely understand after hearing a few guys mention that like they don't even use these ones.
Wonder the likelihood on head gasket failure versus not from using them.
Well, like the one guy I talked to pointed out is with the 6-bolt setup is the big thing is it adds the 5th large bolt down below is like one of the things. That's where it's adding another clamp load as well. And the thing is that, you know, his comment was that where does it normally blow out if you do have a head gasket failure? And yeah, normally it's to the outside.
Right.
So this is probably going to be the longest and tedious part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
After this, I'm hoping
everything should kind of...
Yeah. After this, all the bolts are normal. They're easier to access than this.
You want to take a guess as to how much that harmonic balancer bolt is torqued to? Just take a guess.
Guess how many pounds?
Foot-pounds per inch. We're gonna give you 3 tries. Those try 1.
Give me a hint.
286.
Ooh.
Is it in the 200s or the 100s?
You got your range now. you got a high end and a low end.
Dakota.
Next bet's on you.
215.
Ooh.
Do you want a phone end?
No.
I don't remember. I thought it was higher than that.
So with this one being a GM bolt, it's technically torqued by angle, but basically by the time you get done, it ends up around 235, 240 foot-pounds. So you were pretty close.
I had planned it to be.
Insert clip that says.
Yeah. Boots and cats. Boots and cats.
Boots and cats.
Yeah, you just set the bag in the valley. You don't have to hold it the whole time.
I wanted to feel like I was doing something, alright?
It's okay. This is normally how the job goes, is someone says they want to help, and it's oftentimes just easier for me to just do it.
Let me hold your hand.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Oh yeah, this one's...
Good job of holding the flashlight.
Oh yeah. Oh, I could have acted like angry dad. Could you hold the flashlight straight? Pans over to a dog.
It's amazing at how much crud is in there.
Yeah, it all finds its way in there. The fact that it's all tucked underneath the supercharger too, you would think it's like pretty safe from getting gunk in there, but no. Nothing is safe.
Half of the shit is from Utah, I think. Just like rocks and stuff, like we were in the kitty litter.
Yeah.
Insert clip of Utah kitty litter. Cool.
Now we need the big boys.
That's big boy. That was
Can we get a Go sponsorship?
I really want to.
Okay.
Big
Bolts.
strong boy.
Bolts. Every bolt out of this side. Yep. Should be ready. First things first.
Rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Yes, that too. Well, let's take a look at our valves. Kenzie, you could come over and look.
Let's take a look at our valve.
Well, they look gross. So first thing is looking for anything obvious, like any crazy discoloration that points anything out. They all look pretty similar. I remember like with ethanol-based fuels, because you're running like Pump E, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. sometimes you can get like water into the system and stuff, and that can cause the kind of rusty coloring that we're getting in some of these areas. But I mean, overall, I don't see anything crazy. Nothing obvious as far as like it doesn't look like a valve is starting to cup or anything at a glance. Nothing crazy concerning. More than likely recut the seats, because what we'll probably end up finding is that the seats have gotten like a really wide 45-degree angle. And then if the guides have started to get really loose, it can allow the valve to tip back and forth, and then it'll kind of favor one side, and then eventually you get a burnt valve, and then you're calling me very mad from a racetrack. So
Yeah.
we'll make sure that everything's in tip-top shape.
So pretty much like for people pulling engines apart in their shop, like this is kind of the extent where you can go with it, and then the rest, like, it's better to bring it to the machine shop, right?
Yeah, it's sometimes with taking like the valve springs off and stuff, you need special tools, especially with these heavy-duty springs. In that case, sometimes it is just easier to go straight to your engine shop and let them take care of it.
With an energy drink, preferably.
They'll never say no. If they do say no, you got a weird one.
They're 70, about to retire.
Yeah.
And you got to find a new one anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Look at that. We had a head gasket.
Ooh.
I don't know if it was ready to go or if it just kind of fell apart during disassembly, but if it is loose enough that it pops apart during disassembly, it probably wasn't doing hot. So, see anything obvious on the burn ring?
200 or 6.325 rod.
These ones wanted to break your socket. Yeah, you can already see it starting to twist on there. Granted, we're dealing with very small, so it doesn't take a whole lot.
No.
I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I saw a marking on that cylinder. Is there a preventative maintenance thing with head gaskets, or is it one of those, if it goes, you'll know?
So one thing you can do is if you have
The pressure tester?
yeah, if you've got a pressure, or not a pressure tester, if you could put a pressure sensor in your cooling system, if you've got like the hookups in the ECU and everything to run that, and it could tell you how much pressure is in the cooling system, and it'll be able to tell you if you're starting to, like, because you're boosted, so if the head gasket starts to go, it's going to want to push into the cooling system. The pressure is going to push back into it, so it's going to increase the pressure of the system. So that's one way to tell the early signs of head gasket failure.
If a person didn't have that.
Obvious signs are like watching for any potential coolant loss. If it's eating coolant at all, you know, if you're getting low on coolant but you're not getting an obvious leak onto the ground, it may be finding its way into the engine. Obviously checking to see if your oil looks like a milkshake.
We would add coolant throughout the events. Not throughout the events, but usually in the mornings.
Was there any obvious like hose leaks or anything like that?
Nope. But we towards the end of the year, like we did have like a overheating,
Okay.
or it started to get a little hot. So like, and that's where I told you I thought the water pump might be.
Yeah, and obviously the water pump failing isn't going to help the head gasket problem anyways, because it's going to cause increased heat. That's just going to go against you anyways.
So that one is worse for sure.
Definitely, yeah. It's enough to where I can catch my finger. Lifters!
Yay. Do you suppose they call it lifters because they lift stuff?
Boy, you are a rocket scientist, Cody.
Ooh.
Smart man.
I've been watching a lot of Home Improvement, so.
Got a little Tim Allen in you.
Yeah. Now these as well, you want to keep relatively in the same location as they
Yeah, the thing is that the base of these have worn, the rollers typically they wear to the camshaft.
Yep.
So it's nice to keep them in order and keep them with each piece.
And the cam isn't necessarily something you really change on a refresh, right?
Not really. Not unless we see anything major. I mean, at first glance, looking at these, I'm checking the rollers to see if there's any, like, crazy grooving or anything like that. I'm not seeing anything super obvious. Occasionally a line here and there. What we'll probably do is we'll polish the camshaft a little bit and make sure that there's no burrs or anything. But we're also going to make sure that, like, the lifters don't have excessive play or anything, and they still spin as they're supposed to.
Do you ever have stuck lifters where it's like super hard to get out?
Yeah, those ones, a lot of time your easiest bet is to spin the engine over, let the cam push it to its highest point, pull the camshaft out and all the rotating assembly, and then just drive them out from the bottom. Unfortunately, when you get to that point, if you have to start hammering on them, you pretty much trash the lifter, because either you're driving from the top to push them down, or from the bottom to push them up and out. And no matter what, you're going to hit something that, like, for instance, with these, you would be up against the roller. That's no good. This is the part where we start to get really oily.
Yay.
Yay. So far seems to be in pretty good shape. Yeah, I mean, if we can keep it healthy and it survives a complete season of abuse and then it gets torn down for a refresh, that's...
A-okay.
Yeah. Totally okay to freshen it during the off season. Well, we're now at the point we can roll it over, take the oil pan off, and start pulling pistons out. Ugh. Can't find the hole. I can't. There it is. We got there eventually. Sometimes I need guidance. Is there anything gross in your oil pan? Right there, you can see some glitter there. We'll have to see what our bearings look like when we get in there.
So there's people that say you don't have to run this. Tell us why that's a dumb idea.
One reason for keeping the windage tray is to keep from having too much oil slosh. I remember the one clear thing I saw is I went down to a shop and they were running an engine on an engine stand. They were getting a lot of extra crankcase pressure in the system, and it was a brand new built engine, but he didn't like the oil pan that that the customer brought anyways, so he had a hunch, changed the oil pan and windage tray setup, and just by changing that, they gained 70 horsepower on that engine. Granted, we're talking
the windage.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a 1500 horsepower engine, but 70 horsepower just because of the windage change in the bottom of the pan. I definitely recommend running a windage tray anytime that you are able to. Did 13.
The rods still look brand new.
Yeah, they do. Crank does too. Look at that. Got a little bit of skirt wear here. Ooh. Hop in there. Take a look, champ. I need, with my oily fingers, I can run my fingernail across and kind of catch. There's a pretty substantial groove right there. My assumption is that the piston was rocking inside of the bore pretty well, which it doesn't have a whole lot of skirt to work with to begin with. More than likely what we'll end up doing is want to replace the pistons, get something with a fresh skirt in there, but we're going to measure the bores and see if it's going to make more sense to go with an oversize and change up from this current bore. But yeah, that's our first sign that we've got a little bit of wear on it. Yeah, some streaks there. Bearings aren't in the greatest of shape. Well, I shouldn't say they're not in the best shape. They've got wear to them. Crankshaft, though, looks to be in good shape. There we go. Yeah, same thing. Got a little streak there. Got some heavy scoring on the skirts. They are spec'd kind of loose just because of the abuse and the boost pressure that Cody's putting in. So a lot of times with the drift engines, we build them a little looser to be safe. Plus, like I said, the amount of boost he wants to throw at it. You know, in this case, if he wanted to throw more at it, it had the room for it.
Jammed.
You holding?
Oh,
there we go. This is our. This is the one that had the weird mark on it. It's got the same scoring on there. I don't see anything you know, damaged in like the ringland area.
No.
So that's good. I mean, it's not like the piston broke on us and caused the scrape. Some kind of debris may have gotten in there and at some point in its life and caused that.
Are we broken?
No. I mean, not broken. We're just seeing wear. Just be careful. If they feel like they're starting to strip, back off. Rather than having a single chain take all the pressure, you now have two kind of working with each other. They get really tight on LS setups though. There's the other ratchet.
We didn't grind any of the heads on these, did we?
One of them we might have.
Because that looks like wear from the chain.
Oh no, we did not do that.
I bet you that's where a few of the flakes came from in the oil.
Yep. I'm going to spend more time on this one bolt than Dakota will have into that entire cam plate.
Don't jinx me yet. There's still a Phillips in here that I have to somehow try to get out, and it does not look like it's in a good shape.
Do you have one on a socket? Yeah. We can just leave it. I'll deal with taking it out once we get to the shop.
Okay.
Okay. I need a 1/2 inch 13 and a 10 mil, please.
He memorized the torque sequence.
When you do this many of them, it's pretty easy to remember. Yeah, when you're assembling, you go in to the out, and then when you're going disassembly, out to the in. Yep. Now the fun part, getting these caps off.
Judging by the rods, how do you think these are going to look?
I think we're going to see similar streaking and stuff. You know, if something got into that oil. Yeah, we've lost all the coating on there. Crankshaft, I don't have any like grooving or anything, so.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah. You want to grab that? This bore table.
On this back gasket, you can see the line.
Yeah. Overall, the cam looks like it's in good shape. At first glance, I mean, it looks like it's just normal wear and tear. So the next step is just, we'll get it over to the machine shop. I'll use my nice measuring equipment, and we'll take measurements of everything and see what kind of condition it's in, and get an idea of if we do need to do anything, like you asked about line boring the block, if that needs to be redone and attended to. We'll check the rods, make sure that they're still in good shape, and then we will measure the bores. We've got a couple of spots that we're concerned about, so we're kind of already at the idea of thinking of a 5 or a 10 over piston compared to what we currently have. Otherwise, I mean, we haven't found anything that's crazy and outrageous.
Oh, and then tooth keepers and deal for the heads.
Yep, the valve springs is the one concern that we had. Yep, keepers and retainers. Kenzie, A+. That was really like the biggest surprise, was the keeper that looks like it's trying to pull through the retainer. If it doesn't show any signs of warp, like I don't see a reason to change that. That's the one nice thing about iron blocks, is that you don't often have to do stuff like that as much, just because it's a stronger material. Whereas with like aluminum stuff, it's so easy to get like any kind of dings or divots into it. Like the aluminum cylinder heads, almost anytime you pull them off, you've got nasty grooves from the gasket and everything. So, but like Dakota said too, you know, no one retorqued the ARPs at any point in their lifetime. So there's a chance that like the ARPs were kind of, after they've had a few heat cycles,
kind of almost relax the point where you would throw the torque wrench back on, and it might have helped like not reseal, but given that extra whatever the spec is on the torque for it, kind of holding it.
Are you looking at what cam he's got?
Yeah.
It's the PDS stage 4.
Correct. Positive displacement supercharger stage 4.
Instead of putting that stage 2 back in, he wanted to put the stage 2 in the truck.
Yeah, the truck. Yep.
Well, that's going to do it for our teardown. It's pretty much done, minus the camshaft. Our camshaft plate, we used the Phillips head, some weird stuff when we had to assemble it. That's on us.
We just don't have the right tool to take it out. I got the tool at my shop. We'll get that part out.
But other than that, everything else is done. No major issues. I think we kind of went through what we saw. It's just a simple refresh.
Yeah, a couple points to concern and take care of for the rebuild, but yeah, nothing crazy.
Now we're gonna bring it over to his actual shop where he can bake it, go through everything, stuff we can't do, stuff I can't do, stuff he can do, but
get it nice and clean and get everything straightened back out again and ready to go back together and fight for another season.
Tune in next time next time is probably not going to be the assembly. We're probably going to do a bunch of other stuff before it assembles. But tune in for all of the videos so you can watch this get assembled.